All right, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, and children of all ages, this is Seattle Pandemonium Shutdown, day 374 by my count, and we're really in it here, boys and girls. We're really up against it. So, on the one hand, there was a mass shooting yesterday, which means that life is returning to normal. In a sense, in these United States, that's a kind of form of normalcy, I guess. But the specifics of this situation in Atlanta are, it's quite troubling, and I don't just mean that this guy went and killed a bunch of people. There is a predictable, cynical, I'm going to say cynical, nefarious, quite likely, pattern with, the way stories like this get reported. So, as soon as the suspect was identified by the media yesterday, the narrative was white supremacist terrorist shooter targets Asians at spas. I think it was 3 different spas in the Atlanta area. And this, of course, plays into at least 2 narratives. Okay? I guess 3. At least 2 narratives. Well, no, there's 3. So, this is a white supremacist terrorist, which is a super huge problem that's going to unravel the Republic, and we're all in danger from all the time, which is, of course, not true. Then there's, trust me, I sold fried chicken to the head of the Aryan nations. Actual white supremacists are thin on the ground, okay? Second, that he was targeting Asians because Asians work at these spas. Let's be honest, they're called rub and tugs because of, well, reasons. And oftentimes these women are trafficked. They're actually victims of human trafficking. We had a big ring of this out here in over in Bellevue, and there was like city officials and stuff got caught up in it, if I remember correctly. But you have these sex trafficking rings, and they traffic women from East Asia to come over here and, service customers, let's say. But the narrative in the news and on social media from, of course, the moronic blue check idiots is that this was because Donald Trump called it the China virus. It's the Kung flu. It's the Wu flu. It's hilarious. That's what's causing the spike in hate crimes against Asians. Mostly in major cities, I might add. Which Democrats always point out, we're the ones in the cities, and we're the ones that, make all the money, and the red states are the ones that are on, and the red areas are the ones that are on the welfare, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's not what's causing the spike in hate crimes, unless all the black people assaulting Asian people in places like San Francisco and like the Bay Area, which has been lethal, literally lethal, not just people being robbed, but people being murdered by black people, okay? That's what's causing the spike in hate crimes. It's not one incident where one person does something awful. It accumulates over days and weeks and months, okay? And the reasons for that go back to literally the rooftop Korean phenomenon in the LA riots. I rest my case. Third, and this is where things get nefarious. It's about gun control, boys and girls. It's about gun control. There's already been reporting about how there's these spikes in mass shootings. A black man tried to kill his wife, killed her daughter, killed a cousin and a brother, and somebody, like, this was like Indianapolis, like last weekend or something, and you know, they will go look at gun control, and I don't know the condition of that man's legality to own a weapon, but in this instance, they're gonna say the same thing. The narrative wins, and this is one of the more frightening things about the state of, I don't know, I don't just want to say hypernormativity. It sounds so like douchey to say hypernormativity, but it's kind of what's going on. It's that we're just used to the media telling us things, and whether we know or believe it's true or not, the government just then does whatever it wants to do. And so the specifics of the case don't matter. Is this guy, I mean, it is a white guy with this was a no-chin having goofy white guy that did this shooting yesterday. But they said, this is part of why the narrative falls apart. There were 8 people, I'm going to say women, I believe that's just 8 women, and like no men. 2 of them were white or Caucasian or something. 2, and then the other 6 were Asian. Okay. And the reason that's so far stated as to why he did this is it's so bizarre. Like, it's bizarre. The statement that so far was that the reason that he killed these women was because he was basically addicted to going to these spas, massage parlors, whatever you want to call them, and procuring their services. He was an addict to adult behaviors. So people were saying, he's an incel killing these women. And it's like, no. You can just give those women money, and they'll touch you no matter like how gross you are. Like, no matter how much of a goofy loser you are. Those women, you pay them and they touch you. That's like how that goes. So you wouldn't kill them if you were an incel. So maybe that's the 4th narrative. There's a 4th narrative in here. So there's the Trump thing, there's gun control, there's white supremacist terrorist, and then there's incel terrorist. But you don't get rejected by sex workers. That's kind of their thing, is that you give them money, and then they do things to you. Whatever, I don't know, whatever you're into. I'm not here to kink shame. But the narrative is he said that it wasn't a racial thing. It was that he's addicted to adult activities with these sex workers, and that's why he killed them. I don't know, man. I mean, there's some sick people out there who have horrific I hate to like make it too abstract, like say models of reality, but like no sense of responsibility for their own actions, no sense of responsibility for their own dignity, their own agency, their own bodies. It's all everyone else, not me, right? Now, when it comes to my own level of life success, of course that's everyone else's fault, not mine. I mean, clearly. But in cases like this, it's like, come on. Like, you're gonna put you being addicted to bought intimacy, and I mean, that's what it is it's bought intimacy. You're addicted to that, so then you take these women's lives because you can't, like... I'm sorry, there's crack addicts that don't go on murder sprees. And I am assuming, based on the behavior of crack addicts, it's pretty up there with sex in terms of things you will do to acquire. I will defer to Ed Lattimore. This is his beat, though. So, yeah. And narrative wins. So, it ultimately won't matter the specifics of the case. Why he did it. He has a manifesto somewhere about how, women are stealing your vital essence or something. Some crazy stuff. No, he can adamantly be like, no, I don't care what race they were. I just wanted to off them because I like getting touched too much. It won't matter because the narrative is already cemented. and we've seen this with various news stories, and I covered yesterday the Trump phone call story, which was, the Trump phone call to the Georgia official that they completely got wrong, and it was like cited in the impeachment that they, passed against Trump, and it's just the media sphere, man. It's ruthless and fast, and they know, again, most people don't really have that much time to spend sorting out all of the nonsense that they report and finding the truth of, the truth of the matter, the truth of the situation. So it's it's ugly. And so this is the problem, right? Is that you have this grisly crime, this ugly a killing spree, right? So a murder ride, 3 locations across like an entire city. I mean, how many more people could he got to if he hadn't, gotten caught yet? But then the media spins it with keywords like, white supremacy, hate crime, Asians, a rise in hate crimes after the Trump era of saying China virus. Like those are the key words that you just put in, and are we vaccinating? Are we vaccinating? It looks like we're vaccinating. Maybe we're testing. Nah, it's gotta be vaccine, right? St. Paddy's Day, vaccines. Anyways. Oh yeah, happy St. Paddy's Day. Top of the morning to you. I'm Kyle Stowe. Make sure to smash that like button and hit the notification bell. It's my Jack Septiceye impersonation. Did you like it? Did you like it? Was it good? Did you like me yelling at you? Like me yelling at you in a brogue and all that? Someone should have told you. Never give an Irishman good cause for revenge. I'm like half Irish, by the way. That's why I'm Irish American Kyle Style podcast right now. After today, I'll change it back to something else. I'll change it back to Emergent Universe or something. I don't know. Of course, St. Patrick. The reason I saw this, I don't know if this is true or not. The reason that it's St. Paddy's Day with a D, not St. Patty's Day with a T, is because his name was actually St. Patrick. Is that true? So that would be a D and not a T? He's not. They anglicized him into Patrick. Is that true? I don't even know if that's true. That's what I saw. Would make sense. Some Irishman was like scolding the Americans for getting this wrong. So I just want to maybe issue an ethnic correction. An ethnorection. Anyways. Ireland. And Tirnanog and all that, don't you know? Saints preserve us. That's about all the Irish slang I know. The media storm rolls on. It will present itself it will present the story however it wants, and people will only remember that which they sort of initially saw. What are you parking in the middle of the street for, you idiot? They won't remember, oh no, he shot non-Asian people. And there's already people being like, he shot 6 Asian people. And you're like, yeah, he shot 8 people. 2 of them, a quarter of them were white. So, stop pushing your narrative, you psychopaths. It's just give it a rest. There's complexities to the situation. We don't know all the facts yet. We don't know why he did what he did, necessarily, although some have been reported. There's no, there's the 24-hour rule. And, I talked about this yesterday with, a coworker. It's give it 24 hours. Is this the Scott Adams rule? Just wait 24 hours, and then you won't look like a complete idiot. You won't have the suspect wrong. You won't have the weapon wrong. You won't have the locations wrong. You won't have the number of victims wrong. You won't have the motive wrong. And then you won't be feeding a hysterical narrative, which is what a lot of news people, quote-unquote news people, like to do. They want to push a narrative. partially because the narrative helps drive the clicks. And so the ads for, scooters for fat people and, sleeping pills and anti-anxiety medications, ironically enough, are driving newsrooms to produce inflammatory, false, cultural narratives that make people feel afraid, and then they click on headlines. They go, oh my goodness, I'm scared. Yeah, they've gotten very good at scaring you. And they make money from it. So they are incentivized to scare you. And of course, I'm going to be completely cliche and say, of course, if it bleeds, it leads. And of course, this story clearly bleeds. And you get to talk about Trump some more. Because there's nothing to talk about with the Biden administration. Nothing at all. Nothing about the border. Nothing about the economy. Nothing about, the recovery process. There has been no press conference except for whatever that weird nonsense was yesterday where Biden's hands clipped over the top of a microphone that had to have been composited in like After Effects. I'll include the links to them because it's one of the most bizarre things you've ever seen. Anyways, that's enough from me for a Wednesday. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.